If you've been following my channel here, board games, you know that I love dungeon crawlers. There's maybe it's the D&D in me. Maybe it's a fusion of the D&D plus a miniature Wargamer type thing. But there's just this feeling at the start of a good dungeon crawler. I've got my character, whatever that character is, where you're like, look, over the next 2 or 3 hours, anything is possible. There is a chance for glory. There's a chance for tales of heroism. There's a chance for magical power, tabletop immortality. It's just this feeling of like anything is possible. And then as the game plays out, just a mystery. Being able to fight monsters, to fight bosses, to explore, to get loot, to work together as a team and have that story. If it's a co-op type dungeon crawler, if it's an overlord system, working as a team against the overlord, or if I am the overlord, how can I make this a really, really fun and exciting experience for the players? On a side note, yes, as an overlord, I try my best to win. But if there's a chance to make something cool happen, or a chance to maybe not make the most optimal play, but it'll make it memorable, I'm always going to go with that. We'll roll the dice and see what happens. So within that framework, in terms of dungeon crawlers, we've been looking at this idea of evaluation, right? The big question with a board game of any title, is this a title that I'm going to play? Is this something that I'm going to enjoy playing? So when I look at a new game, depending on the type of game it is, there's like 5 or 6 questions that I ask the rules, that I ask the game myself to kind of answer that question. And for dungeon crawlers, for me, the big thing is automatically generated dungeons that are revealed full out, or dungeons that reveal along the way. This idea of discovery. And I'm going to pull out 2 examples from my collection to highlight this, to give an example. But this is kind of an overall tactical checklist that you can apply to all dungeon crawler titles or ones in your collection. Hero Quest. Hero Quest, right? The original dungeon crawler. It starts, you've got a fixed board. You've got a fixed area. You know everything is going to be contained in that dungeon. And the layout does lead to a number of elaborate dungeons. There's a lot you can do with that board. But I don't know what that dungeon is. I don't know. It is revealed as you go. Doors are put out. Walls are assembled. Furniture is added. Monsters are added. I really like that because you get to see the narrative of how the evening unfolds in the dungeon. Now, with that, it takes time to build that out because as an overlord, you're looking at the map that's behind the screen and you're putting furniture out, and some of the longer dungeons really build out very, very long and are very, very complicated. And there is the possibility sometimes as a player where it's like, wait, did we miss something? We're supposed to find this boss, and we've explored 80% of it. Where's the boss? Did we miss a secret door, or did we not go down a corridor that shows line of sight to a new door? Those type of dungeon crawlers where you discover along the way and things are built generally take longer, not only in the opportunity to miss things, but they tend to be bigger type games because you're going to assemble it as you go. Likewise, just on a side note, campaign or not campaign, I find them to be a little bit more interesting because do you want to grind? Do you want to figure things out? You just have to complete the mission objectives. It might be to escape, or usually it's defeat a boss monster. Well, if I have an idea of where the boss monster is based on minions and based on layout or clues, then before we knock on that final door and take on the gargoyle or take on the dragon, we can look and say, do you think we're ready for this? Do we want to try and gear up some more? Or if we're playing in a campaign where it's like, look, there's the exit. We found the exit. We can leave right now. Or we can check out these other couple of rooms. Yes, we could die, but there might be some gold coins, some gems, some healing potions, or a suit of armor that the warrior needs. Let's do a little bit of discovery. So I do tend to prefer the explore as you go for that mystery. But on the opposite side, it takes time. Now we look at something like Descent, 2nd edition, where the dungeons are fixed. You lay everything out. You know, here's where the boss is. Here's where you have to go. And there might be different parts with doors or different areas. They're much more compact. These take a little bit longer to set up because you're setting up everything at once, but they play much, much quicker. And the players have all the knowledge that they need to know for this type of dungeon crawler. But there's still choices. There might be a map where it branches off to the left and to the right, and I know the boss monster is on the right because I can see the Lieutenant Dragon miniature I have to fight guarding the exit. But if I go through the left and beat up on some goblins, which may or may not weaken me a little bit, I mean, they could roll lucky, then on that side, there's 2 treasure chests. I don't know what's in there. It's completely random. It could be like, congratulations, you found the buff potion. Or it could be like, hey, I found 500 gold, which I need when I go back to town. There are decisions still to be made, even if it's a fully revealed dungeon. But these tend to play much, much faster. I prefer the hidden, but I have some titles in my collection that are revealed. The primary difference with revealed dungeons is they play quicker. So if I only have 3 hours at the club, I'm probably pulling Descent 2nd edition. At the same time, they get to be a little bit more tactical with how you play. And you have to play tactical. So tactical in that the players can approach it with a little bit less random, but I also have to approach it while I'm trying to create a narrative and some fun. I need to approach it from the perspective of my resources are limited. I need to, based on the decisions the players make, really put up a good wall of monsters and use any of my Overlord cards to spawn other stuff and play this way to really, really pay attention on how I utilize it. So while there are dungeon crawling elements, it's more of a kind of dungeon crawler war game type aspect as opposed to a straight up kind of dungeon crawler exploration. So on that list, this is the first thing that I look at in terms of dungeon crawlers. Is it a discover as you go type system, or is it a fixed map, fully revealed type system?